Hi everyone, good afternoon. Y'all made it to near the end of the first day of CDP World. So welcome, thanks for taking the time to join our talk over here. Today we're gonna cover personalization and the role of generative AI in personalization. I'm gonna give you a quick POV on the way Treasure Data sees these two mixing together, and then I'm gonna be joined by these two gentlemen here to have a further discussion around the relationship between personalization and generative AI. And let's get into it. So hi everyone, my name is Vishal Patel. I'm the Director of Solution Engineering for Treasure Data. My team's role is to bridge the technical and your business and help you understand how our platform is going to help you solve your business's challenges. So today I'm going to cover what is personalization, what are the challenges that we face with it, what are the solutions that generative AI can offer and enhance personalization, and then we'll get into our discussion. So getting personalization right comes down to finding the right people at the right place, the right time, with the right message. We've been talking about this all day, and what that results in is great customer experiences. And that is the holy grail of what we're trying to do as brands with our CDPs. And AI has a really important role in all of these facets, right? So we can do getting the right person right? We can create segments today, but with AI, we're able to automate some of that, create segments automatically, do clustering, and automate some of the work that goes into segmenting all of your data that you're bringing into the platform. Same with the right place. You can run attribution models without ML, but you can take it to the next level by running next best action models to find what channels are going to resonate the best with your customers. Same with the time. You can orchestrate different types of journeys to hit people at the right time that your marketers think are going to be really effective at getting your customers to convert. But you take it to the next level with AI, using, again, next best time, things like that to generate insights into when to target these customers. And when it comes to generative AI and generating the right message, the future is going to be creating bespoke, one-to-one, personalized content, whether it's message, images, calls to action, all of that. Generative AI is going to have a massive role where it can automatically look at all of your customer data and generate content specifically targeted towards them. But to get there are pretty massive challenges, which we're going to talk about today, right? Trusting your AI to generate all of this at a massive scale and generate the right type of content requires a lot of trust in a lot of these models. But getting it right becomes super important, right? Today, when it comes to personalization, 1 in 3 customers are willing to walk away from a brand if they have a bad customer experience. And this translates directly into your bottom line, because we're seeing 40% of revenue that's attributed to personalized experiences are super critical for the most profitable companies in the world. So it's super important to get this customer experience right. But to get it right means laying down a solid foundation. And to get to that level of where you are leveraging things like AI that we just talked about and things like generative AI, there's a natural progression. It starts with getting your foundation right, starting with your segmentation, getting that right data, right foundation in place. But just getting all of that in place comes with a lot of different challenges, from technology to business, orchestrating, getting all of that data integrated into a single place, unifying it across all of your different data sets, scaling it out as you start generating more and more data, and then being able to properly generate insights and analytics so you can create the most meaningful marketing experiences for your customers. Then on the privacy side, making sure all of this personalization balances with the trust that you're trying to build with your customer, and then orchestrating this across all the different channels that your customers are engaging with. So to compete in this hyper-personalization world, you really need to get these foundations right before you can start taking those advanced steps with Gen AI and AI and ML. And so today, we've presented probably throughout the entire day the solution that is the Treasure Data platform. All starts with getting all that data in, getting it right, doing that unification across all of that customer data that you have, doing that enrichment, bringing in external data, making sure you're building that holistic customer profile view, performing segmentation, and then at the very end, layering on that data science, that data workbench to extract those insights and generate all of those automated insights that we talked about. And then all of that can be sent out throughout your marketing tech stack to engage and create these hyper-personalized experiences. And so, with treasure data, you have this one single source of truth to basically be the central nervous system to orchestrate all of this in a pretty seamless fashion. And the way that we are, sort of taking advantage of and bringing all of this power of AI and ML is, a key part of our roadmap in helping you as brands create these hyper-personalized experiences. So we're going to be, as a part of our roadmap, as you probably saw in our keynote, as well as in some of our showcase, allowing LLM models into the platform to allow you to dynamically create segments using natural language, automating searching and analysis of the customer data that's in the platform using these LLMs. And it's going to be a key integral part of the future of treasure data. And then lastly, you've seen this diagram, the end-to-end of what treasure data can do as a platform with all of the future capabilities. All of this is supported by a strong technology that sits on top of massively scalable infrastructure supported by AWS, as well as executed and brought to life by partners like Artefact, who bring the expertise and experience to actually be able to deliver these hyper-personalized experiences across all the channels that you operate on. And today I'm joined by Ronak Shah, who is the strategic partnership manager. He's the one who collaborates with Treasure Data to help us take advantage of technologies like Amazon Bedrock to leverage Gen AI and bring it straight into the CDP platform. He comes with 20 years of retail and MarTech experience. And I'm also joined by Florian Thibault, who is the managing director of Artefact France. And he comes with 8 years of experiences managing massive brands like Samsung, Coty, and brands like L'Oreal. And so I'm going to be joined by them here today. I'd love to hear from you guys, get your POV on what personalization and Gen AI mean to you.
Yeah. Should I start?
Yep, please go ahead.
So hi everyone, as you can hear by my accent, I'm French, so sorry for that. So my name is Florian Thibault. I'm working at Artefact. So as you mentioned, a partner of Treasure Data. So we are a data consulting company, and we help our clients to leverage data for to improve customer experience, to improve marketing efficiency, etc. So basically, what I will tell you a story about what I've seen, over the past 8-10 years, by helping brands like big brands like Samsung, like L'Oreal, etc. on their data-driven marketing programs. What I've seen is that over the past 10 years, we progress a lot on the data side, on building audience segmentation for marketing with great efficiencies. We have let's say 20-30% efficiency with data-driven segmentation. And what we see in average, for the let's say mature player, we see hundreds of segmentation into data-driven marketing campaigns. But what we see as well is that in front of this hundred of data-driven segmentation, we see only 4, 5, maybe 10 personalized messaging on this campaign. And there is a reason behind that, is because before, let's say, Gen AI, it was really hard to build a lot of different creative, a lot of different messaging for this campaign. I heard a lot of my clients, CMOs, driving, creative agencies saying, okay, we cannot do more than 5 and 10 messaging because it's taking too much time. It's taking 3 weeks to build all the assets. It's too much effort, or too much cost on the creative agency side in order to make it happen. So what I really think is that now, today, thanks to Gen AI for content creation, we are able to match this challenge. So we are already able, and we've seen, a lot of brands, building a lot of different creative, personalized messages, as a standalone using generative AI. And now, what needs to happen in the next few years is to match them together, to match all this segmentation together with all the different creatives that we can match together to have this real, personalization. I think it will not happen in one day. There will be some challenges. We'll talk about them a bit later, but it should happen, by starting with a small proof of concept and scaling it to the whole company. So,
fantastic.
Hi everyone, Ronak Shah, and I'm super excited to work with Treasure Data on this Gen AI, which we're gonna talk about. But before I get into that, can I see like how many of you already doing personalized messaging? Okay, few. Well, in my past life, I tried to do this, and it's hard, as he was mentioning, like getting the segments to CMS, and then have someone create all the content or creative, and then getting it out in timely manner. It's just scale is the challenge, and in going forward, like in few years, the way we see this space evolving is every applications will be infused by AI and Gen AI. So it's not something you think like, oh, I need to do Gen AI. It's more of an, hey, I need to do personalization at scale, and where I'm gonna do that. At AWS, the way we are thinking is first democratize the Gen AI. Second, in where Gen AI is not something, a special thing, it's just another service for it. So Amazon Bedrock is a fully managed service, just like how you use EC2 or S3 today. It's HIPAA eligible, GDPR compliant. We treat the security as a job zero. And when it comes to CDP and dealing with the users' data and trust, right? This becomes the core. And the second thing we see is not one model gonna fit forever, right? So ability for customers to pick the model LLM which gonna work best for them. Either it's from Anthropic, AI21 Labs, Meta, or our own Amazon Titan model. Now, making all of those models as a choice available through Amazon Bedrock, but with simple API endpoint and ability to execute agent on top of it, gives that scale and ability to say, okay, take these micro segments or take one-on-one and generate the most meaningful message for all these users. And don't just send it out, right? I mean, that's not the point. The point is like generate it, let it pass through the compliance, let it pass through all the challenges from governance perspective, and then scale it.
Amazing. So if I'm trying to recap what you two just covered is the three pillars of, I think, the challenges that we're facing is scale, trust, and security with rolling out this one-to-one personalization. So maybe we'll sort of cover those three topics and how you see those challenges being presented and how you see maybe customers or the market potentially adapting to those challenges. So maybe we'll start with scale, right? So generating one-to-one personalization, it's easy when you're doing maybe creating 4 or 5 creatives per a dozen segments that you're doing, but from a people standpoint, how do you start to govern that as you start to scale that out to hundreds or millions of pieces of content that you're trying to generate at scale?
Yeah. So I would say a bit in the same way that you scale a CDP program, for example. You start small, on a specific, proof of concept with one market, one brand within your company. You test this, you check what is the impact on the people, on the process, on your relationship with the agencies as well, on the business model of your creative agencies, for example, etc., in order to create some success and then scale it to the other brand and the other companies. So I think it's really important to start small, create momentum with success, that impact your business, and continue this kind of program that can be a 12, 18, maybe a bit more, 2 or 3 years program sometime as well, in order to scale it to your whole business depending on the size of your company. So really important, I guess, start small, get some success, and then make it happen at a larger scale, I would say.
Yeah. So it's like keeping an experimentation mindset with the people that you're going, and then run up on the technology side. What are the scale challenges that you see brands facing when it comes to generating this volume of content? and how does AWS help you support solving those?
So, I mean, at AWS, we love scale, right? I mean, that's kind of the given.
Yep.
But specifically for GenAI and Amazon Bedrock, we released the service. We know global customer and GDPR and European regulation. The service is available not only in US, but Europe and various parts of the world. In terms of experimentation, I said we give a lot of choices. So we think, as you iterate through different models and do the experimentation, figure out, security as, that your data is your data, right? When you're using the service. And through that experimentation, you will figure out how to scale it.
Any questions from the audience on scaling, personalization, and AI? All right. Nothing yet, but we'll keep going. So next topic, I think, trust. Right now, how do we oversee all of this content that's getting generated? How do we get to a place where the content that's getting generated by these models is trustable? What have you seen brands execute, or what do you see the market needing to do to get to that stage?
Yeah. So I think you've all seen the problems that we can have with generative AI with hallucination, etc. So I think it's a question of course, we need to choose the right model, but I really think that the model are kind of getting commoditized at the moment. You have a lot of a really good model, really good LLM on the market that you can use. And I think the trust will be coming from how you fine-tune this model with your own data. So how you will build, for example, for creative, a bank of assets that respect your brand image, a bank of prompt, a bank of data that you can feed to the model in order to make sure that the output is inside something that you manage and something that you trust. I think it's really important. Then, of course, there is all the trust around privacy. So I think all the different LLM and Amazon first, of course, have made a really good progress on that topic over the last months. And I think you have way, now to make sure that all the data that you feed into your model stay, inside your own infrastructure, inside your own cloud infrastructure, and doesn't, is not given to your competitor. I think you will give more example on this.
Yep, absolutely. Right. As I said, your data is your data, your model is your model. So the unique thing on the Amazon Bedrock is it runs in your VPC just like any other service, and when you fine tune using your own data, that data is not used to with anyone. It's yours. And this example comes to my mind because as Amazon, we've been using the AI and Gen AI before it became a thing. And if you've been to any Whole Foods store, there is this Amazon One where you do the palm and do the payment. Now, in order to figure out the fraud in it, we use Gen AI to generate the images to train that model. And where I'm going with that is eventually where you would get is, well, there is one Gen AI model which is generating this one-on-one content. And then you have a model which gonna figure out, does it comply with all my brand? That's the secret source of compliance. That doesn't mean your human aspect going away, but it allows you to scale. Then you are only looking at the exceptions, not the million users message,
right.
but you are continuously not only just gonna figure out how to create the best message, you're gonna also trying to figure out how I build my brand compliance into end-to-end cycle.
Yep. So I think to sort of recap that, right? Millions of pieces of content getting generated. You have to be able to assess the quality that is, and it comes down to the technology potentially helping us pare down the pieces that we need to review, figuring out how do we govern that, and then from a people standpoint, like how do we create the oversight that's needed to actually execute and generate this. And this actually brings up another question now. Delivering all this content, right? Are in your mind, have you seen the systems are ready to, like if we are able to generate, for every single profile that's in our database, are the systems going to be able to deliver, like our ESPs, our media platforms, are they going to be able to deliver that sort of experience one-to-one?
Yeah. I think that the tools are starting to be ready. There are still some progress on the market, etc. And not everything is fully integrated, but I think you can manage, with the technology that are available today to make it happen. What the main challenges will remain on the process, on the organization, and how to make it happen, because it will have some impact on your current way of doing data-driven marketing, of doing campaigns. It will have some impact on your media teams or media agencies, how they will operate the campaigns, how they will make sure that you have the right personalization for each of the segments. It will have some impact on the way you are working with your creative agency. When you think about it, today you're paying your creative agency on depending on the number of assets that they are building. It will not be the case anymore tomorrow. It will you need to switch from, for example, more FTE models, with your creative agency, because at some point you will not count anymore the number of assets that you're building with generative AI. You need to, build as many assets as possible to make sure that you have a good personalized, content to show to all your targets, all your customers and prospects. So at the end of the day, it will impact this as well. It will impact, all your, let's say, company process in building, marketing campaigns. And I think that's where there is a lot of work to do as well, outside of course, all the technology partners that are doing fantastic job in bringing new technologies every day and new, I would say, techniques every day. But I think we are more or less ready on the technology.
SI and the agency is figuring this out more creatively. One of the example I saw is, remember, like we transitioned from like blanket email to email which starts with your name and it's like a variable. And so one of the example I saw is like, okay, well, what if we make this message as a variable and it calls LLM and inserts this, or it calls approved messages for each user. And so tools are getting there, or if they're not getting there, they're getting creative to solve this in a way that you can send this in the mass, just like how we figured out how to insert user's name in it.
Yeah, it's like the natural progression. First, we need to start creating that, and then put it to the final destination to solve those challenges that we present them.
Yeah, and maybe to have something on tools, I think you have today you don't have like one tool on the market that can do everything. You don't have one tool that does what does AWS, what that does as well. Treasure data that does as well. Generative AI for personalization. You need to select a kind of best of breed tools on the market and integrate them together. Make sure that for example, treasure data works well with Bedrock, works well with your CMS system to potentially integrate content on your website, etc. So you need to build this kind of tool architecture and best of breed tool architecture and make sure that they interconnect together and they work together.
Awesome. A question for the audience: who here is actually leveraging LLMs for anything in your sort of personalization or marketing strategy? Is anybody doing anything with that here? Would you mind sharing what you do? You can.
We're experimenting. I can share the use case. I do have a question though.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not about technology more. Like as I listen to this, I guess my question is about the workforce of the future, right? Like how do we, like traditional roles seem to be like less and less relevant now. Like we have a marketer, marketing operations, we have IT folks, right? But when you think about what Gen AI is going to do in terms of like all the prep work that needs to go in it, like the model content, right? To be able to create these models, like it has to be on the business side. But can the business do it? They don't want to do it, right? There's a lot of work for them. So my question is how, maybe gentlemen from AWS, how do you think what new roles will be there? It seems like some hybrid skill sets will be needed. And how should we prepare for that future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a disruption. And the way I compare it is, internet and going from direct mail, the paper mail to the email, and then the next one was mobile, and I see this one as just in that category. Now, in either of those cases, like eventually we figured out. I don't think there are like clear answers right now. Obviously, there is one role which coming up, which is the governance, because people have the domain knowledge, people have the brand value, and to infuse that into LLM or the model, it's going to take some time. So those people who actually wrote the copy, they are now validating the copy, right? They are teaching the machine to how to do it better and keeping them on track. And that's the one aspect I see.
Anything to add to that, Flo?
Yeah, maybe to answer you a bit on this as well, on the organization part. What I see is a bit the same trend that I've seen, with let's say data-driven marketing at the beginning. When you are a large organization, at the beginning you say, okay, let's build a central team that can be called Center of Excellence or whatever, or Digital Hub, Data Hub, whatever. That create something, create some best practice for all the different brands, market, etc. And progressively, this central team, because it's not a disruption anymore after 3 years, 4 years, etc. They hire, inside, their team, some data skills people inside the organization, data analysts, etc., to create themselves the operation and to be less dependent from the central team. So I think we'll have the same thing with generative AI for content. Central, should take, the ownership at the beginning and progressively push it, into the market, into the brands, when moving forward after a few years.
Yeah, it's a change management itself, right? I mean, but if you compare it with the last 2 major changes, I mean, this gonna probably go same way.
Yeah, I think CDP itself is a story of change management, right? Like, I think before CDP, it was data managed by IT, marketing requesting, and now with CDP, you're able to sort of democratize that and build confidence in the data and almost expertise in what this data means and how to use it. And that's getting sort of democratized across. And I think in a similar fashion, it will start with, okay, a core group of individuals who own that process. And then as the technology and the expertise gets built, to democratize that out. Any other questions from the audience? Cool. So I think last sort of pillar of the challenges that we face is security. Training these LLMs, I know we've touched on this a few times now, but training these LLMs with customer data presents potentially massive risk, right? Like, where is all this data going? What are the LLMs going to do with this data? Maybe Ronak, you can start with how the technology is making sure that everything is being built and done in a secure fashion.
Yes, so don't make a call on internet and trying to generate something, right? That's not the right approach. The right way is connect through your own account, your own VPC. Then you feel confident. You have all the your security controls in place. The second most important aspect, which we are kind of getting a little bit worried about, is hey, I'm using PII. But in most cases, it's not about the, those core email, etc., right? Because that model doesn't need to know that, right? I mean, if you kind of think about it, like in order to generate the content specific to user, all we are looking for is the attributes. Model doesn't need to know who the user is in terms of like identifiable information. So that's just internal governance, right? It's not, and then second is because the way Amazon Bedrock works and security being job zero, and everything stays within your account, the information is same as you're sending it to S3 or better, right? If you are, it goes back to hey, you same questions where, hey, can I move this in cloud? And now, all the CDPs pretty much run on cloud.
Yeah.
So it's the same mental model, but also understanding, which attributes needs to be part of the prompt, right? Not everything needs to be part of the prompt.
Right.
And that's where I don't think as an users need to figure that out. I think CDP like Treasure Data are gonna figure that out because they know what actually gonna bring that results back. So through that experimentation, you're gonna get to the point where you can win that trust.
Yeah.
I don't think we are there yet.
Right. So then it kind of falls on the CDP or like that the platform that's generating that that content or providing the access to the LLM to sort of govern what gets out and what gets fed into these models, and not so much the user, but just the security and the governance that we put around what gets fed in.
Absolutely. And one thing I love about this Amazon for Bedrock is the tenancy. So tenancy is the first-class citizen. Mm-hmm. In many services, tenancy comes later. So what it means by is the SaaS provider like Treasure Data, who has multiple tenants, can still use this and still preserve the isolation between the tenants. So any data is not shared between tenants, just like how it works today in CDP.
Right. And Flo, I think in probably any security conversation, technology is only half of the equation, then it's the people, right? Yeah. Like what policies do you envision that are going to need to be in place, like to enforce sort of secure use of data with personalization?
Yeah, for me, for me, this security issue is the same thing that we had with the cloud infrastructure before, with the API from all the media partners before as well. It's like, I think today the technology is ready. It was not maybe 1 year ago ready to make sure that your data is not feeding the entire models and given to your competitors. Today, I think with Bedrock, for example, the technology is ready. So it's how you manage it in the same way than 10 years ago you started to put your CRM data into the cloud in cloud infrastructure and you were worried about the security. Now it's not a worry anymore, I guess. And in the same way, maybe 5 years ago you started to push your customer data through media API from the partner, from Google, from Meta, etc., etc. And there were security issues at the beginning, and there is no security issue anymore because you manage it into a process. You have, the technology which is ready to make sure that it's not shared, to your competitor, to other people, etc., and respect the actually rule of the game. And I think the same thing is happening with generative AI today.
Fantastic. So I think that's all I have for questions for you guys today. Any final questions from out here? All right. Well, any closing remarks? Any final thoughts to leave?
Maybe I think try it and test it. I think it will happen in the next year. This real personalization into generative AI. So you should start your experiment, start to see how it will work, how you can match it, with your actual segmentation. Not only personalization alone and segmentation on the other side. Match it together and make sure it happens because it brings a lot of business benefits, and a lot of marketing efficiencies and increase your sales as well. So.
Yeah, I think I compared this little bit to like internet and iPhone coming out as a mobile, right? So my final thought is this is here to stay. Right, it's just a matter of time when you're gonna get on board, right? So it's start experimenting and figure out what it means for your business.
All right, thank you, Florian. Thank you, Ronak. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.